Welcome to part 2 of drawing random Pokemon to combat the horrors of life. Guess that's what this series is called now. Don't worry, I fixed the sizing, the ratio, so it won't be vertical on YouTube anymore. Let's go, my genius. I had the grand idea of doing my favorite starter of each generation because I started with my favorite Gen 1 starter, so I was like, hey, let me do my favorite starter of each gen. That way I always have like an idea and they're kind of like coherent, at least for like 9 of these. So it's not just completely random, I guess. I don't know. I thought I needed a little bit of structure to this. So following in order, this episode will be me drawing my favorite Gen 2 starter, which is Cyndaquil. This one. You can see from all the eraser marks that I had a really, really hard time drawing the head shape. I don't know why, I just couldn't get the shape right. And he ended up pretty disproportional because the actual Pokemon's head is bigger than his body, but I made the body bigger than the head in this drawing. So I have very, very minimal merch of Cyndaquil. Not a plush, not a figurine, simply just a little sticker that I've put on my wall. Here's a general, kind of more zoomed out picture, which also features a little Bulbasaur thing I put on the wall that I cut out from a big poster that I forgot to mention in the last episode. And here is a much more zoomed in, but extremely blurry close-up picture of it. Let me get real for a second. I've been in a really more frustrated, mostly with myself kind of mood today rather than the typical, like, sadness, I guess, of my depressive episodes. It's been mostly frustration and irritation. So starting this drawing and having so much difficulty with just getting the basic shape to start was really, really frustrating and really disheartening, and I thought about just trying a different Pokemon and giving up on the starters in order kind of thing. And I even thought about just giving up on this today altogether, but I'm really glad I didn't, because I eventually got something that looked okay to me. It looked good enough. Of course, not perfect, but it doesn't have to be. And that's the lesson that I'm kind of trying to convince myself through this series, is that trying to acknowledge that I don't have to be perfect. And I do kind of like the end result. Overall, I like how it looks. Colors were really, really hard to get, and you'll see different little things I had to do for that in just a second. While I color in the main part of Cyndaquil's body, let me give you a fun fact. Towards the end of high school, I actually considered pursuing some sort of art degree in college. Here's where the coloring part was most challenging. This part of Cyndaquil's body, like the top of his head and like the color on his back, is like a weird kind of muted bluish green color, and out of the 96 crayons that I have, 96 different colored crayons, not a single one of them is even inherently close to Cyndaquil's color. So I took this green and this blue and I colored them together to try to make things work. And then I took this like grayish kind of thing to mute them down and redo the little things. I thought it was funny that it was called Manatee. I don't know why I thought that was interesting, I just did. The colors that I used for the flames on Cyndaquil's back are definitely a lot more vibrant and not quite blended as they are on the Pokesprite. But I don't know, I kind of like how it stands out a little bit more. It just adds a little bit more purpose and personality, I guess. I don't know. Also, the orange that I'm using right there, the color of that crayon is mac and cheese. Yeah. Anyways, I went and I defined the lines again to give that shape and those smoother outlines, because crayon kind of makes it way more messy, and then you kind of lose the original lines. But there he is, all done. Also, the colors I used for Cyndaquil really reminded me of the colors of Archeops, so I made sure to record down which crayons I use, so I have them as a reference if I ever draw Archeops. Anyways, stick around for part 3.